Christian, we've had a very interesting night.
Slightly.
Yeah, this is probably the first time in a while that we've been recording that we've had multiple problems in the exact same night. And I'll kind of break it down for people that maybe watched the Sleep with the Lights On episode that came out last week, the Halloween episode. We were recording the bonus story for that episode. And after we were finished filming and everything like that, I like to go around and make sure everything recorded properly and whatever. And so I go over to the phone that is currently filming Christian. I see that it is zoomed into the backdrop of our foam sound panels back here. And I was like, uh-oh. And so I went to the video, and turns out the entire 16 minutes of that clip was 6x zoom in on the foam panels here. So that was all kind of kaput. And I'm like, well, that's unfortunate. And then I go over and I look at the audio, and wouldn't you know it, it stopped at about a minute or so into the discussion of the bonus story, which is interesting because the clip that it stopped on was when we were talking kind of about trickster spirits. And I had mentioned that I had a run-in, or in a house I lived in Vegas, there was a run-in with a trickster spirit that I had. And as soon as I mentioned that, the audio stopped, which is peculiar, I'd say. I mean, maybe a giant coincidence, but because I mean, look, the computer's done that before in the past, not when talking about trickster spirits, but the fact that it cut right after I said trickster spirit is kind of spooky.
And we were talking about a trickster spirit at the time.
That's true.
You know, when you walk on the dark side, sometimes they communicate back, and
it was for a Halloween episode.
Yeah. It's not always in the convenient way if it was indeed a spirit and not incompetence.
I mean, the veil is a bit thinner these days, so that checks out.
The end of the world is near.
Yeah, so we got some stories for you guys that we're going to share. It's just a little Halloween bonus. This is not what I usually look like. I usually don't look like a normal...
Like you look like an anime girl right now.
No, I look like... First of all, you can't say that. Secondly, I look like your run-of-the-mill average teenager in 2023 with a beard. And that's fine. This is Halloween. This first story is it's called The White Mothman, and it's from Columbine, 2016. One night I was driving home from my then girlfriend's house. I was crossing a bridge and saw the figure of a man standing at the edge. It was around 1 or 2 in the morning, but I didn't really think too much of it. I veered over to give him plenty of room, and he turned towards me. His skin was pure white, and when his eyes locked onto mine, I felt a horrible feeling of terror sweep over my body. He jumped off the bridge, and I saw a white streak fly away from where he jumped. I drive over that same bridge every time I'm home from college, and I've never seen him or felt the same feeling since. I've told this story to a couple of people, and a few have also told me they experienced weird shit in that area. I don't normally believe in anything supernatural, but I don't have any rational explanation for what I know I saw and felt. That's interesting.
First off, you let us down by not doing any research on this bridge.
Very true, or at least giving us the name of the bridge so that we could conduct some research on this bridge.
We might have found out that they had a
White Mothman.
Or a jumper.
That flies off into the sky.
That might not be what happened. He just saw the image of whoever it was jumping off the bridge, and the white streak was whatever phenomenon sometimes accompanies that.
It's his spirit. Free as a bird.
Yep, I scared him. Now I can go back to heaven.
Yeah, there you go. That's probably what happened. That's interesting, man. I don't know. This is also the second story, and I guess I kind of... But no, I don't get the reference to Mothman at all.
No, me neither.
This is the second story. Like, I have another one. I'm not sure if we're going to get to it in these, but I have another one where it was something just staring at him in a room, and he labeled it like Mothman. He was like, oh, it looked like Mothman or the Rake. And I'm like, those are two vastly different looking creatures, my friend. So you should probably narrow it down on what it actually looked like. But I'm not here to judge people's experiences,
Mothman's always popular, though.
That is
its
true.
Own statue, so
yeah.
It's got to be something.
That is true. There's festivals dedicated to it. It's a whole shebang out there, which would actually be really fun to visit sometime. I think we should check that out.
I definitely want to have a picture in front of that statue. In one of my video games, I even collect Mothman eggs.
Would you look at that? Mothman eggs.
Or did I say video games or videos? I don't know what I said.
Video games.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be weird if you were collecting actual Mothman eggs in a video somewhere.
That would be weird.
Though I would be down to see that. That sounds kind of cool.
I mean, there's always somebody willing to pay for all kinds of weird things, so collecting Mothman eggs doesn't seem too bad unless he shows up.
Sure. He's like, hey, excuse me, sir, those are my eggs.
And I'm like, there's not many creatures that male creatures that lay eggs. Can you tell me about yourself?
Wow. Okay. And with that, we get into another story here. And this is entitled Crybaby. And it's by Ergahal666.
I thought it was by John Waters.
Okay. Anyway, when I was in high school, my uncle would throw me a couple bucks to help babysit his kids with my aunt.
Couple bucks?
I know, yeah. Well, really giving it out, aren't you? They lived in a 2-story house by the water. Nice area. The kids were about 3 and 6.
Also, he could have afforded a couple more bucks because he lives by the water in a nice house.
Yeah, that's literally $1 per child. One day, I was sitting in their den on my phone when I started to hear a baby crying. Thinking it was the 3-year-old, I headed to the bottom of the stairs to check and see if my aunt was up there dealing with it. I called for her a couple times with no response. The baby kept crying. I called for her one more time, and when I got no response, I started walking up the stairs. Then I heard my cousins and aunt playing outside. All the hairs on my body stood up, and I literally felt a chill run down my spine. I quietly turned around, walked down the stairs, got in my car, and drove away. That's quite the reaction. The baby was still crying when I closed the door behind me. A few years later, I was drunk at a family party and told my uncle the story. He told me that he and his wife used to hear the baby too, and apparently, the previous owner had a kid die of SIDS in that room upstairs. He's uber Catholic, weird phrasing, and had a mass said for the baby.
Everything's fine then.
Yeah, he said after that it never happened again.
Until somebody else moved in.
Still gives me the willies when I talk about it, though.
Wait, was the uncle Catholic or the previous owner?
The uncle was Catholic.
Okay.
And so he had a mass for the kid. And apparently after that it stopped. Very strange.
That is very strange.
And also very tragic and sad.
Yes. That wasn't a regular baby.
Ghost baby.
No, worse. That was something else trying to
lure some. That's a creepy.
Yeah, because I mean,
and we've talked about it before. Never follow voices into the woods. Never hear, like, if you hear something,
don't talk back.
Can't explain.
If something calls you, don't speak to it.
Yeah.
Don't even say what.
Do not acknowledge it. Move on with your day. Say, that didn't happen. Everything's fine.
And most importantly, don't have a welcome mat. These are all little tricks.
Yeah.
That the other world uses to get into your soul.
That's true.
Or to get your soul.
Yeah.
At least that's what a non-skeptic would say.
Sure. And now that we've gotten the tricks out of the way, let's get to some treats, shall we?
This is Halloween.
We like treats.
We do. This, we'll do one more. Let's do one more for this, and then we'll call it a day, huh? This is from Goatbusters BM, and it's called the Fireplace Specter. 4 years ago, I lived in a very large farmhouse that was converted into 2 apartments. The house was known as the Old Boys' Home. It was used to house boys with behavioral issues, but was closed due to allegations of, I'm going to have to bleep this word out,
Abuse.
Abuse. What a great, where were you 10 seconds ago when I was blurping that word out? Anyway, I was living with my boyfriend and 3-year-old daughter at the time. My bedroom had a large fireplace that had been boarded up and painted over. I decided to push my bed up against it one day while I was rearranging things. It was kind of like a headboard. That night, around 1 a.m., I had heard a small voice saying, "Mom? Mom? Mommy?" I had sat up.
Stewie.
I know, yeah, that's what everyone is visualizing. I had sat up in bed but didn't see anything, so I reached over my boyfriend trying to grab my daughter and put her in our bed. I kept feeling around and I was still hearing the voice, but I couldn't feel her. My boyfriend woke up and turned the bedside lamp on, asking me, "What the hell are you doing?" I explained that Amelia was trying to get into our bed and I was reaching for her. There was nobody there. My daughter was sound asleep in her room. The next night came, around 1 a.m. again. My dog had started to whimper at our door, so my boyfriend got up to take him outside. You know that feeling in a bed when someone lies down next to you? Where the bed pushes in and there is a warmth in your back? Well, I felt that, so I assumed my boyfriend had got back to bed. I rolled over, my boyfriend wasn't in the bed, and I felt the fucking bed release pressure. Whatever was laying next to me had gotten up in that second. I moved my bed the next day to the other side of the room, and I have never had another incident in the next 2 years I remained in that house.
spectral being was like, I touch you, you don't touch me, and got up.
Yeah, isn't that weird that it's literally just across the room? Like it's the exact same room, but the bed was just moved like a few feet over to be in front of this old fireplace. And then you never experience anything else?
What did they do to those boys in the fireplace?
Well, it got pretty dark for a couple guys wearing weird costumes at the moment.
It's the best time to get dark.
Okay.
It's called...
Well...
It's going to be like, it's called cosplay, but it's really not.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah, there you have it, I guess. There's the answer. Now that, I don't know, that one in particular just kind of, it sat weird with me because you would think that if this was a haunting that took place in that room, that they would experience wherever they are in the room. But it only happened when the bed was moved up against that old fireplace.
That's just
at 1 a.m. a couple nights in a row or whatever. And then when it gets moved back, nothing happens. Like at 1 a.m., you don't hear anything. I wonder if you like put your ear up to that covering over the fireplace, if you'd hear it. Ooh, that gives me chills.
Why would you want to hear that? Some things, if you hear them,
maybe you just get lonely.
But you might never come back.
That is true. Sometimes you never come back. And this has been the Freaky Deaky. We'll see you next time. No, it's fine. Yeah, that's bizarre.
I don't
Those
know
are
what to tell
bizarre
you,
stories. What do you guys think? If you are new to the show, subscribe. Get in there. We love hearing from you guys. Comment below what your favorite story was. If you have any opinions on the stories, what you think these things could have been. And if you're someone that just wants to chime in on how beautiful and luxurious my hair is, well,
I can't stop staring at it.
Well, you can do that as well. You can do that as well. It's fine. Some things are just built for this magnificent dinosaur-shaped head of mine. And this wig is one of them. But you're not here for that. So anyway.
You know who you remind me of? What's her name from Scott Pilgrim?
Oh, interesting.
What's her name?
I don't know.
She was amazing.
Sure.
In that movie. I mean, she's a good actress anyway, but...
Indeed.
It's just funny that got the same haircut too, just about. Maybe it's just me thinking that, but can't stop looking at you, man.
Okay. Well, that's my sign to call it quits. I'm going to go ahead and hit the old dusty trail now. So, we hope you guys have a fantastic Halloween. We will catch you next time.
This is